back to Glenlarthen, and I was kind of bored while I was on holiday at the weekend, so I did a few contracts. And probably thinking, you're on holiday, shouldn't you be doing stuff? But between my headaches and Mrs. D's health problems, we haven't done much yet. It's Tuesday, so I've been playing a lot of Farm Sim. So I thought I'd turn it into a video because, you know, why not? We've done a whole bunch of sowing contracts, and there are now a lot of fertilizing contracts as a result of me doing all of that. So it's a lot of corn and soybean planting. So I had both the planter, the John Deere planter, and the Väderstad seeder out working. So got quite a lot done, and we've got quite a lot of cash in the bank now, which is quite nice. And the weather has improved, so we can finish our planting. Want to get this rolled, and then where it's been raining, we're going to ted the grass to semi-dry, and then in the morning get it rowed up ready to be baled as hay. So yeah, it's kind of nice actually. It's a long time since I have just played Farm Sim and not worried about making content. Obviously I was grabbing some screenshots as I went, but yeah, it was kind of fun. I actually done the same thing on Saxthorpe on a video that you'll probably see later this week. So again, it was kind of fun to just play Farm Sim and chill out. And yeah, that's not saying that it's not relaxing recording, you know, making videos and recording. It is my hobby, it's why I do it. But not having to think about, do I need to record this bit, don't touch the mouse to try and keep the camera still, or the little things that add on top of just recording you playing Farm Sim, you know, which makes the difference between a utter mess, see my early videos, versus something that people, I think, actually enjoy watching. So yeah, again, the last of the corn planted, and this is the last of the planting that we need to do. So I think there's some fertilizing we need to do. I'm not sure. Looks like there is over in the potatoes. That field looks quite orange. And we'll need to do stuff with the grass probably, or maybe not actually, once the hay's been baled. So yeah, I'm not sure. We might be skipping ahead a little bit. I often say that and then never do. There'll probably be some contracts that I get engrossed in. One thing that I'm not sure on, and I'm still using one of the earlier versions of the map, and I might need to update the map. So don't take this as being a reflection on the map. This is a reflection on me not updating, possibly from getting an earlier version of the map. And that is that I'm not seeing grass contracts yet. It could be that they're not going to kick in until June, when actually, because the grass might not be completely fully grown. We do need to get some lime on here next harvest as well, which is a bit annoying, but good crop rotation. Need some fuel. Yeah, it might actually be because the grass, I mowed the grass in the first harvest ready state, and I think contracts wait until the second one. So this is what happens when I talk out loud, or think out loud, rather than thinking in my head. But generally, actually, it's better if I talk through these things because I work it out, whereas I was thinking, why aren't I getting grass contracts? One thing that was interesting was getting a 6-meter planter around this map. The roads are fine. Some of the lanes are quite narrow. So yeah, I might not be rushing to do as many planting contracts next year. Yeah, it was a bit of a challenge. So yeah, I am on holiday, and I did say I wasn't going to do any videos this week. And originally, when I started recording this video and the Saxthorpe video, which may come out later this week, the plan was just to sit on the footage and release them when I get back to work. But I felt like making a video, so here it is. Enjoy. I am hoping to stream on Thursday night. Hoping. We'll see how my head is behaving. So if you're not on Discord and you care, a bit of an update on that. I went to the doctor's yesterday. He thinks it is something called, so we're just repairing everything. He thinks it is something called cluster headaches, which I was treated for about 8 years ago. And the symptoms and patterns are pretty reflective of cluster headaches. So on the plus side, he has or is referring me to a specialist to get a confirmation of the diagnosis, and they should be able to access better treatment as well. So some of you who do either watch or follow through the various platforms have, suggested treatments that you have or are aware of. And in the UK, you can only, and I think some of you are in the UK actually, so you probably know this, but for those that aren't, you can only access those through specialists, and you have to have tried so many kind of conventional treatments first, and those be ineffective. And kind of done that now, but tried over the course of the 10 years or so 3 different types of treatment, and generally they are not that effective. So although I'm going to have to wait some amount of time to see someone, I'm kind of hoping that it means there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel eventually. Yeah, and so let's say I suffered with this before, and I eventually, well, it's a condition that comes and goes, it seems, and it went away for a very long time, and I still used to get headaches, but not with the pattern that I've got now. And actually thinking back to that period, it was a very similar pattern, in that I had a constant low-level headache, and then intense, excruciatingly painful headaches would occur, sometimes a few times a day, sometimes once a day, sometimes not at all, and they happen at really random times. And yeah, so I'm trying to remember what I did back then that helped. It was a long time ago, and there were a bunch of dietary and I think lifestyle things I did which helped. So yeah, trying a few things. We'll see how it goes. I know that and so there is a UK based charity that helps people that suffer with this, because it can get pretty nasty, and they have a good old-fashioned forum, and I've been on there in the past, and I was doing some reading. I've occasionally dipped in and read some bits, and there are a couple of things that people say help them, so I'm trying them. Exercise is one that people say helps, and obviously I'm normally a runner and someone who goes to the gym, but I haven't been in a few months for a variety of reasons, so I'm trying to get back to that. The benefit of that is I have a race that I signed up for in October, and I have done almost nothing since May, bar some very sporadic stuff. So to be honest, if I end up deferring that race, I don't care, but it would be nice. And cold therapy is another, and breathing exercises are supposed to help. So that's something that I did a few years ago, not for this, but so giving that a try again. I say giving it a try again. I have not done the breathing exercises yet. I was diagnosed yesterday, and I meant to do them this morning when I got up, but I didn't because I forgot. And with the cold treatment stuff, I did the first of those yesterday. That's something that I've done on and off for, health benefits anyway. So we'll see if any of it helps while I wait for a referral. In the meantime, I have the abortive medication, which is, if you've experienced it, it kind of sucks. But if pain gets bad enough, it helps. So that's a kind of rambling update on that, I guess. I honestly have no idea what we're going to do while I've got this week off work. So Mrs. D has had a really bad 3 days, mainly because she was trying to help around the house and do things, and it's just left her in so much pain and so tired that it's just not worth it. And it's little tiny things that she's trying to help with, which is really appreciated, but just not worth it. So yeah, that kind of sucks. I trying to think, have just generally enjoyed not having to do anything, not having to go to work, and we've been watching some TV. So I've binge watching a couple of series. I introduced Mrs. D to Dexter, the serial killer series, not the kids TV show. I remember watching that when it was released and really enjoyed it. And yeah, we watched about half a series of that, I think, and she enjoyed it too. So we have so many series on the go at the moment that we're watching. So we are still working our way through Vikings. I'm not sure what series we're on that. We're quite a way through that. We are partway through watching the Van Helsing series. I can't remember even what platform that's on. We have just started season 2 of Hannibal. Really enjoying that. I'm trying to remember. There are some others as well. We started watching yesterday the follow-on to Vikings. Doesn't seem to matter too much that we haven't finished the original yet. So, yeah. I don't know how you guys tend to do this kind of thing. And Vikings, we binged watch so much of that initially. Probably like 3 or 4 series we were watching a lot every weekend. So I'm just heading the grass to semi-dry now. But I find that eventually I get a little bit bored if they're really long. So we alternate a bit now. It's cool. But we do tend to, stick a series on and kind of just let it play as we, I play video games, Mrs. D writes, draws. Yeah. It's just kind of what we do, Back to the farming, I guess. So, yeah, I'm going to get this tedded out to semi-dry. Obviously, I could just ted it all the way to hay. What I've been doing on here is letting it dry overnight. Neil did point out that, leaving it overnight is probably the equivalent of, I'm playing on 3-day months. So each day is kind of like 10 real days. So leaving it to dry overnight is like leaving it for most of a week. So maybe I don't need to leave it that long, but I just kind of like it. Kind of spreads things out, just showing the FERC contracts that are available now. Yeah, I just kind of like that it spreads the process out and it's not instant. I really miss that feature from Seasons in FS19 where you'd have to plan your haymaking. And to be honest, if I'd done it the way I did it, it'd probably been screwed because of the rain that I had. we'd probably lost a fair bit in that. Not sure we might have been all right if we were at the, you know, the equivalent of semi-dry and it just had to go the one state, because it would have reverted before it rotted. So I'm really not sure how it would have gone. But generally, when I was playing FS19, if there was rain due, I wouldn't be cutting grass for hay, so I'd have probably waited until after the rain came. It's mainly because I didn't check the forecast properly, I think. You know, weather has so much less of an effect in FS22. I'm trying to embrace simulating it having an effect. You know, it's farming simulator. It so often feels like base game, as I've said, is farming arcade. I talk about Season Delight a lot. It's crazy. You know, posted the little spoiler that Paul did for soil compaction in Terra Life, and anything like that, you get so many comments of the other features of Seasons that people miss. You know, it's I kind of get why Giants did it, but I wish they'd done an add-on like precision farming for real Seasons. You know, I kind of get that if they make or they had options for turning it on. I get if they made the default actual Seasons, people would find it hard. And they don't want that because they want it to be an all-encompassing game. You know, you only had to see the number of comments of, I've planted my crops, I've fast-forwarded a day, they're not all ready to harvest when FS first came out. That a lot of people don't want that long, slow gaming process. They want it fast. Yeah, they want fast gameplay. They don't want to spend time doing stuff sometimes. So you can't force that, you know, because it's going to be bad for sales ultimately. But I do feel that having them as an option would have been good for the many players that enjoy that realism aspect. But it's not necessarily about, you know, hashtag realism is key. It's not about, you know, I never claim to be a super realistic farm sim player. I play in a way that it's been put as a nod to realism, but I acknowledge that these are real world processes, and you know, sometimes they take a bit of time to do. You know, I'm not one for, well, apart from on Dix, I'm not one for, you know, all the fast farming, single pass. I have plowed, limed, seeded, fertilized, and harvested in a single pass. That's not my thing. It's often about enjoying the process. I think it's why, as I've said in the past, Kartik mentioned in one of his videos, because he enjoys it as well. I enjoy plowing because I enjoy the process. It's, you know, I don't mind that it takes time, and yeah, that's kind of how I like to play. So we need to give the cows some water before we skip ahead. This is a new step for me. It's been a very long time since I have had an animal pen which requires water to be put in. The benefit, I think, is going to save us some money versus when we're on the automated watering of Maypole. It's still costing us to fill up from the tap, I guess. It's a tap, but it's not anywhere near as expensive as the overnight bill we were getting for automated watering in cow sheds. So that's a benefit. It's definitely a benefit. I don't know if this just gives cheaper water or if it's the way automated watering works, because automated watering is a function in the animal pen. It could be that. It could be something different. I really don't know. I just know it costs a lot. So I am looking forward to getting cows in the sheds. We are getting milk while they're in the pasture. The thing we're not getting is manure and slurry. I think I had said, and I'm not sure, that I would keep them out in the pasture while the grass is growing and they're grazing. Actually, I'm not sure that the pasture is big enough to support grazing for all of the cows. I need to keep an eye on it. It sort of seems to be. But it got to a point where I was kind of nervous and I actually put some feed in or I skipped the night. I was worried they were going to run out, so I put a bale of silage in just to give them a bit of a buffer. It seems like there is enough buffered food with grazing that it's just keeping the trough at the minimum level that it sits at. So it might be okay. We'll keep an eye on it. If it gets to the point where grazing is not keeping up with it, we'll move some of the milking cows, I think, into the shed. Or I might move the calves into... The calves aren't really eating. We'll probably move some of the milking cows into the one of the sheds. Means we'll need to feed them, but we're getting to the point where we're going to have the constituents of TMR anyway. So just getting the tanker filled up again. We've got silage. We're going to have hay next game day. We have got some potatoes from the harvesting contract I did. And we could go and buy some grain mix or something like that, or some beet pulp or whatever, something to, we don't need beet pulp with potatoes, but some brewer's grain maybe, something like that. And we'd be good to make some TMR. So definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on. I don't want them to get so they don't have enough food and they stop producing milk, because although, you know, the contracting splurge that I did has brought in a bunch of cash, milk is going to be the key income really. So we'll need to see, just need to keep that going, because I can see here next morning and it's kind of settled, and I'm keeping an eye on the power food basically because that's just sitting at 452. Every hour that ticks by, it's obviously taking some out of the grazing buffer. With the way grazing works, you can see it looks like it has taken another layer of grass off. The problem is that it's only going to grow one level at the end of the month, and then it won't be able to keep taking grass, and that's where we might have an issue. It's not a huge pasture, so just see how we go. And I'm just getting the IBC of put away. Have been leaving it there for a while, and we don't need it now for a bit. And we're going to get the hay has dried overnight, and we're going to get this road up ready for baling next time. I've saved the baling for next time because it would be baling and stacking. Obviously with the manual stacking, that's, you know, I didn't want to try and squeeze it all in. I'm just thinking, I don't know if the Saxhawk video is under it, but I'm trying to keep the videos under half an hour. That makes recording the commentary easier, which is still sometimes hard. I've been doing this bit now for quite a long time, but sometimes, you know, it's hard to find things to talk about for half an hour. I've had a fair bit to ramble on about at the moment, but yeah, so we will see. I'm not sure if the other video will come out this week. It depends if I feel like it, basically. If not, it'll come out next week. I want to try and get a few other videos recorded this week. I want to try and get the idea that Argsy gave me on corn versus grass for silage. I'm going to do that without Maize Plus. That shouldn't affect any of the yields and times and things. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it with or without precision farming. I'm not going to do both because it's going to be quite time consuming. And the thing that's really looking at is, and I did speak about it in the previous video, on here I think actually, on top of the yield difference, it's the time and cost difference. So I'll try and look at time, so we'll get that for the equipment, fuel, maintenance, possibly equipment, in particular maybe the specialist equipment. So, you know, it depends how you do it, I guess in both you maybe could use forage harvester, so that's the same, and then you're just looking at bunkers and trailers and stuff. I tend to do grass silage in bale form, but actually that may be the way to do it, to do both with a forage harvester. need to check my video. I did a video on mowing versus direct disking for yield, and I think you got less with direct disking. I can't remember. It's been a while. So yeah, I may do it that way. So I may do it foraging the maize, obviously, versus mowing and then picking up with the forage harvester. Because then the forage harvester is the same. So you know, there's the difference is mowers. I'm probably not going to include things like tractors, because most farms have tractors for other stuff. So you know, the fact that you need a tractor to plant or a tractor to, you know, pull a trailer, I'm not going to include those. I include the hours that they gain, but not the cost of purchasing them, because I think, you know, unless you're just running a silage farm, maybe not, but generally you would have tractors and trailers. So, you know, that kind of thing, I think will. I need to work the details out. But I do want to try and get to that this week. So it really depends what we get up to. I have no idea. So you may have picked up, I'm not one for going out to busy places. Between that and Mrs. D's disabilities, it's not like we can go for walks anywhere now. So, yeah, I'm just not sure what we're going to do. What we would have done in the past is go places with the dogs. That's really hard when your partner is disabled. Yeah, I just don't know. We might just go out for lunch and stuff like that. That'd be nice. It's A-level results week this week as well, so I suspect Thursday will be very focused on that, either in a good way or a bad way. We'll see. So pretty much done with this. I ended up having to do extra headlands because someone, I don't know who, was struggling to coordinate raising and lowering the tether. I was a little bit premature on this bit, and at the top where it's sloped, I was picking up all sorts of stuff. So I figured I'd just do an extra headland on the short run at the end. So next time we'll get this baled, get these stacked, and have another look at whether we are going to have enough grass in the pasture to keep the cows fed. I'm not convinced, but we'll see. We will see. Yeah, I just need to do the short run along here. You can see where I've either missed stuff, or at the end of the trade-off was I either miss bits or I pull in the headland, and I went with miss bits. And I don't know which was the right answer. And probably the right answer would have been to collect the grass, bale grass off the headland first, once it had been rowed, or the hay, and then do the up-down rows. But I didn't want to get into baling at this point in the video, or at the point where I started windrowing in the video, because I would have then had to stack those bales, and I wanted to save that for a separate video, basically. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you did, click the like button. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, stick them below, and I will see you next time on Glenlathan.